Welcome to the second title update supplement. This will cover the new equipment and hunts that were added in this title update. Finally, we get a finale. Part of this finale also includes a non-rampage fight versus Wind Serpent Ibushi, after which he gets his mana sucked out by Narwa. Then there's an even more awful finale versus the All-Mother. She's pregnant. I checked. Magna Mallow comes in for no reason and then taps out immediately. Very cool. I'm really glad they shoehorned in the flagship monster just for this fight. You can now upgrade the Narwa and Ibushi armor sets, as well as their weapons. These armor sets are much better than when they were originally released. Being better than absolute garbage isn't something to be proud of, though. These are extremely expensive to fully upgrade, so only do this if you have money to burn. First, you need to actually build the base sets since you probably skipped them because they were junk. Then you need to upgrade them to the max level using armor spheres. Then, you need to use scales and horns from All-Mother Narwa to upgrade them to gain the Storm Soul skill. This costs a huge amount of money and is not superior to your current offerings for any weapon type. So it's still largely a vanity set. And you know what? You can just build the layered armor instead. Storm Soul from level 1 to 3 is unremarkable. You'll get plus 15% thunder and dragon damage at level 3. Whoop-de-doo. In the extremely likely scenario you're using Nargacuga weapons, this skill is literally useless. Storm Soul at level 4 and 5 is much more noteworthy. At level 4, you'll boost all skills in your core armor in the build by plus 1, and at level 5, it boosts all skills by plus 2. Unfortunately, this excludes decorations and your talismans. Storm Soul exclusively benefits your head, chest, arms, waist, and leg armor's core skills. Storm Soul at level 4 and 5 has the potential to be ludicrously powerful, except for the fact that you're limited by the horrid itemization on the Ibushi and Narwa sets. You can mix and match the sets as both Narwa and Ibushi share the Storm Soul skill. The itemization on these pieces of gear is just so terribly done that it's going to be extremely hard to justify using it over your current offerings. Sure, you can do some things that are kinda cute like Narwa Helm, Ibushi Chestplate, Narwa Pauldrons, Narwa Folds, and Foot of Ibushi if you're a Charge Blade main to get a decent amount of desirable skills. The issue here is that it's severely lacking in any offensive value. Storm Soul also only boosts skills on your armor, so if you're thinking you could get Weakness Exploit in like a decoration or a charm or on your weapon and get it instantly boosted to level 3, well, you're gonna be extremely disappointed because this is no fun allowed. If you could put in one decoration and get that skill instantly boosted to level 3, we would be having a very, very different conversation. Very few weapons even have the ability to get use of most of the abilities. No matter what you do, you will have wasted itemization. Sure, you can use the Narwa Helm for rapid morph on a switch axe, but then you're left with 3 levels of offensive guard that you cannot use at all. Guard up at level 3 is desirable on Lance, Gun Lance, Charge Blade, and potentially Sword and Shield, and yet here it is, tied with Slugger on the Foot of Ibushi. The only weapons that can capitalize here fully are Sword and Shield and Charge Blade if you're using an impact file weapon. Capcom had one job and they made these sets bad, I can only assume on purpose as a joke. Would it really have been so hard to tie offensive guard and guard up on one piece of gear? Apparently that just makes far too much sense. If you're a Gun Lancer or Charge Blader, you're entirely better off using the Basiljuice set because not only is it explicitly tailored to your weapon type, but it also has a huge amount of sockets to exploit for a much better build. Everything else, you're 100% better off using offerings already available to you, as it has sockets which you can customize. The lack of any kind of damage skill on the Ibushi or Narwa sets just makes them so painful to use. Next up, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's the Rocket Dragon. You know, the dragon with rockets. Very cool they put this guy in the game. Thank the heavens above, you also have to grind to Hunter rank 100 to get the quest. Even more unnecessary grinding. Real nice. Crimson Glow Valstrax's set bonus of Dragonheart is actually pretty interesting, who would have thought? Dragonheart will inflict Dragon Blight on you at certain health thresholds. But while under the effects of Dragon Blight, you'll gain extreme elemental resistance, and at higher tiers, a very substantial attack power bonus. This Dragon Blight will remove all elemental damage from your weapons. You have to go pure raw when using this set. This debuff has good synergy with Resuscitate and decent synergy with Resentment that's also present on the Valstrax set. The Valstrax braces are nice for Weakness Exploit 2 and a level 2 socket with Dragonheart. You can consider using this independent of the rest of the set, but you will have to be cautious of the Dragon Blight effect depending on your weapons. The gist is you have to go all in on Dragonheart to kind of maximize its value. The Valstrax weapons are all characterized by exclusively large white sharpness, very high dragon elemental damage, with on the low end of raw damage. Dragon Elemental is only useful on a handful of monsters, so these do actually have pretty limited value. Basically, Dragon Element is only good against Rathian, Rathalos, Wind Serpent Ibushi, All-Mother Narwa, and it's marginally decent against the rest of the Elder Dragons, although all of them have better elemental weaknesses. Not much else to say on this title update. At least I guess there was kind of an ending this time. Silly Hime cut. You should really eat. Am I right, fellow gamers? There are some new weapons for each type you can consider. Every Elder Dragon weapon gets a final tier using Valstrax materials, and they're pretty improved over the previous. If you're using the Blazerioths, Kushala Daora's Dual Blade is probably superior at this point. Likewise, Ibushi and Narwa also get upgrades from All-Mother Narwa materials, as well as a few other monsters like Mizutsune. Some of these are pretty okay. The elephant in the room here is that for most weapon types, the Nargacuga weapons still reign supreme. Who would have guessed? High affinity with natural white sharpness and level 2 sockets on most of the weapons make it, top tier for everything but a few weapon types, even post title update 2. Here's the main issue. To get the 30 to 40% affinity that's innately on Nargacuga weapons, you need Critical Eye level 6 to 7. White sharpness on most weapons requires handicraft. The amount of skills needed to match this on other weapons is absolutely ludicrous. That's not even getting into the fact that something like a Tigrex weapon going from minus 20% to 20% affinity with Critical Eye 7 would give the Nargacuga weapons that same 40% boost, meaning you're sitting at 70 to 80% versus 20% affinity. This isn't even taking into account the fact that most of the high damage alternative weapons lose a socket and a lot of sharpness. The Tigrex weapons are just the closest comparable to the Nargacuga weapons in most cases. The Nargacuga weapons are simply overpowered and everything else is underpowered. We can only hope that the Capcom Balance team tries a little harder to not make the choices so blatantly obvious moving forward. I mean, honestly, would it kill them to make the final story boss's weapons and armor actually good? Just this once. The too long didn't read. Narwa and Ibushi armor upgrades bad. Valstrax Dragonheart set good. Valstrax weapons okay. Nargacuga weapons OP. And with that, we conclude the story on Monster Hunter Rise. Good night, everybody.